Oh, I have to move myself to the presenter. On a second. Hang on. Okay. Cord is going.
Who is that?
Okay. Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Hageman Memorial Library. I'm excited to introduce Sydney Sherman, author and medium Sydney Sherman, who's going to speak with us tonight about her book, You Are Not Alone. Your loved ones are here. You're just not listening. So welcome, Sydney, and welcome everyone who's participating. Thank you for coming. And I hope those of you who are watching this on our live stream on Facebook. Definitely when we're done, I'm going to post. I'm going to let you know where to send questions if you have questions for Sydney, and I can pose those to her when we get to the end of the presentation and we get to the Q&A session. So without further ado, welcome, Sydney. Thank you for coming, and I'll let you take it from here. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Cynthia. This is like what, the 98th time I've presented something to the Hageman Library. So
it's something like that. It's quick. Yep. It's
every year.
Yes, I would say it's probably at least the 10th time, maybe at least, if not more.
Okay, so I over exaggerate a little bit. Okay, that's all right. So
70th time.
Thanks for having me again. Obviously, this is different Zoom. I wasn't sure if I was going to like it, but actually, it's worked out pretty good because nobody can see whether I have pants on or not. So, right? It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I have to wonder what you all are wearing also, but that's okay. So for those of you who don't know me, I am Sydney Sherman, and I'm partial comedian. But I am a medium, and I've written several books. And the presentation tonight is called You Are Not Alone. And I think I've done this presentation a few times for the Hageman Library, but it's always added something different. Something different is always added to it as Peggy and I work on projects. By the way, my assistant Peggy, my friend Peggy, is joining us. Say hi, Peg. Hi. And so what we're going to talk about a lot tonight is about why your loved ones are here, how you know that they're here, what you can do to encourage them to be with you, to understand what they really smell, feel, and sound like. It's not what you think. But I usually start with me because it's all about me. The reason why I start with me is because I'm going to give you a lot of information. And if I don't tell you my backstory, honestly, you'll just think that I'm a lunatic, and that's okay because I am. But I just need you to understand that there's a reason for why I feel the way I do and why I think the way I do. So I was born in Milford in 1962. I know actually that's like a long, long time ago for you, right? Right? Karen, I'm not sure. Peggy, yeah. And Cynthia, I'm not sure, but it was a much different time. Ashley, just so you know, it was a much different time than it is nowadays. Things were a lot easier, or we just thought that was easier. We thought that it was a simpler time. Maybe ignorance is bliss sometimes, I guess. But it was definitely different. What I do was definitely not discussed. I mean, if it wasn't as bad as burning witches, but it was pretty darn close. So I was one of 4 children. I had older 2 brothers and 1 sister. My father was a police officer. My mother was a stay-at-home mom. And that's pretty much how it went back in the day. I was a brownie, and I was a Girl Scout. I took gymnastics and ballet and all the other fun stuff. And Sunday car rides was a huge thing, back in the day. So I was in a normal family. I was no different than anybody else, or else I didn't think I was. Until I was 6 years old, and I was standing outside of my elementary school in line waiting to go in. And I started a conversation with my friend, and a little spirit girl, and I'll call her that for now for reference, came up and started talking to me. Well, I was raised polite, so I talked to her back. And my friend, I wanted to know who you talking to. And of course, I said, my friend. And she said, there's no one there. Well, here I thought she was making fun of me. I mean, keep 6, all right? And so we started doing this back and forth. You're stupid. You're stupid. No, you're stupid. And next thing I knew, the whole line of kids was laughing at me. And I was embarrassed. I didn't know why I was embarrassed, but I was embarrassed. They were making fun of me. And so I ran home crying to my mom. When I got home, I told my mother what happened. And my grandfather, who was living with us at the time, she looked at him. She said, take her. Okay, well, first of all, I didn't know what that meant. I thought maybe I was in trouble for leaving school home. But my grandfather, I'm going to give you a little backstory on him. Wonderful, wonderful man. Basically, everything that I know helped me a lot. He was a very bad alcoholic. So he would get drunk. My grandmother would throw him out. My father would have to come up at the police station, which was very embarrassing for my father. Bring him home to our house. He would detox for a couple of days and go back to my grandmother. Wash, rinse, repeat. I mean, that's just the way it was back then. Well, this is one of the times he was detoxing at our house. And father brought me outside to the old-fashioned station wagon with the wood paneled siding in the back seat to face the back, which, again, Ashley, you may never have seen them before, but they're actually quite cool. And what he said to me at the time was, Sydney, you hear who you hear, you see who you see, and that's okay. You just need to shh. All right, so what does a 6-year-old know about shh? Forget about it. I tell you, my first thought was, oh, Papa's drinking again. And he may have been. But I will tell you that my first thought was fear, because you have an adult back then telling you to shh. I mean, your parents didn't tell you their personal business in the first place. You sure did not ask your parents how much money they make. It just didn't do that. So for an adult to say something like that, it was pretty scary for a kid. But he started to explain to me why it was that I saw who I saw. I never experienced death. I mean, I knew the word dead. Nobody had died that was close to me yet, so I hadn't really experienced it. When I was 6, the people that I was seeing, I thought that they were just people. I mean, imagine yourself being 6 years old before you were biased and all this other stuff happens. I saw them. They looked like people, just different. So Asian people, they're people. They just have different features. African Americans, same thing. Italians, same thing. I just thought they were different. That's it. But I still thought they were people. I certainly didn't think that they were dead. So I'm learning this at 6 years old, that the people that I see are, in fact, no longer alive. And my grandfather explains it to me, which I'm going to explain it to you. I want you to, again, when I'm telling you about it, think about being a 6-year-old, okay? See if you can wrap your head around it, because I didn't. My grandfather felt, as I felt, and I still do, that we are all connected to the universal energy. Not back in the day when I was a kid, but in the last 10 years, scientists have found that there's a lot of particles in the universe that are found in our DNA, meaning that we are more closely connected to the universal life force than we had thought before. But he felt that we are part of the universal energy. We are energy beings, and therefore we just kind of like float around and wait for our turn to get the physical self or the human body. This is our energy. This is truly who we are. This is how we appear. This is our physical self. This can get cancer. This can get diabetes. This can bleed. This can have psychological or emotional baggage. This is time-stamped and it's frail. It only lasts so long. But this is how we go around our life. This is how we all are right now. At some point in time, there's a separation of our physical self from our energy. physical self goes in the ground or cremated, whatever your choice happens to be. But we're still here. I'm 6. How many of you think you would have gotten that at 6? It's just, again, I really thought my father was drinking, but I was just scared that day, and he didn't mean to scare me, but I got to tell you, I was a little fearful. He went on to teach me different ways, the things that I can do, and to give me a better understanding of what it was I was seeing. And I got to tell you, for the most part, I think I kept my secret to myself pretty well. There was a few things in my first book where I let out some oopsies, not on purpose, but kids will be kids. And one of the stories goes like this. So we were playing Duck, Duck, Goose. And for those of you, Ashley, I don't know if you remember Duck, Duck, Goose. According to Peggy says they can't play it anymore because God forbid you touch someone. Now you can take a ball and throw it at their head for dodgeball. Don't touch somebody. I don't know if that's true. Peggy, is that true? Just say yes or no. Yes. Okay. I don't know. My kid's been out a long time. So they're playing Duck, Duck, Goose. And for those of you who know the game, you sit in the circle and you wait for somebody to tap you on the head, say goose, you run around, chase them, and you pick somebody else. Well, I was not a popular kid. I never got picked. So I'm just sitting there on the concrete waiting for the torture to be over. And all of a sudden, the most popular kid in 2nd grade comes along and taps me on the head and says, goose. Well, I was shocked. So I get up and I start to go around the group very slowly. Duck, duck. And the reason I'm doing it so slowly is because I know I will never have this come this way again. This is probably my only shot. And I also knew that it was very clear in 2nd grade that I have to pick someone who's popular. Because if I pick someone who's popular, I'll be popular. That's the way it goes, right? So I'm looking around the circle trying to find the next popular kid. And halfway around the circle was this little small girl who was a little more pathetic than I was. Came from a horrible home life. And she was never picked either. Standing behind her was a woman who was saying, pick her. And I can't pick her because she's not popular. I have to pick somebody who's popular so that I can be popular. Well, my mother raised me correctly. And when I got over to her, I did hit her on the head and I said, goose. And I started running. She did not get up. I go back, I tap her on the head again. And I said, goose. She still doesn't get up. What do? I turn around to the woman who's standing there and I said, she's goose. You told me to pick her. I tapped her on the head. She's goose. She won't get up. And next thing I know, all the kids in the circle are laughing at me. And I realized right away, oops. And I was embarrassed. And also I thought, oh, I'm going to get spanked at home because obviously I did something I wasn't supposed to. So I went running into school, just waiting for the horror of the kids coming back in from recess to really go after me. But they didn't. When they came in, they took their seats. They didn't say a word. The teacher, Miss Tingley, was so kind. And she said to me, Sydney, do you want to go out and clap erasers? And well, first of all, who didn't? And Ashley, I don't know if you've ever had a chance to do it. And Ashley, I keep picking on you because you're young and I can see your face. You will never know the joy of getting chalk all up your nose and all over your face like we got to. What you got to is dry erasers now or something. There's no fun in that. There's just no fun in that. Anyway, I digress. So, so we're clapping erasers on the brick. And she didn't say a word. And then when we're getting ready to go back in, she says, Sydney, we're all different. I always wondered to this day, did she know? Could she have known? Maybe she was just being kind. I don't know. But that helped me a lot that day. There was a few other things that happened as I was growing up, but for the most part, I think I actually did pretty darn good. When I was in senior year in high school, I started seeing the shows that came out. Don't get me wrong, great shows, love them. But Poltergeist, Amityville Horror, all those great. And realizing that people saw death completely wrong. They saw it the way they saw it on TV because they had nothing to reference it from. It bothered me because we're all going to be dead someday. Even in high school, that bothered me because people were missing stuff all the time. I would go to the store and a woman would be reaching up for a can of peas and one of her loved ones would touch her on her shoulder and she would react. She'd look back, she'd brush her shoulder like this. And I was like, oh yeah, keep going. You're right there. And then what she do? She goes back for the can of peas. I was like, she was so close. But this is what people do all the time. And the movies really offended me. So I was like, I'm going to come out of my shell without telling people my secret. And people know what really happens. So I founded Connecticut Ghost Hunters in 1978. Yes, Ashley, that was a long time ago. Okay. In 1978, we were the first paranormal group in all of New England. Now there's 4,978 of them because everybody wants to be a paranormal investigator. We were obviously the first. So what we did is we didn't really have any role models to go by, is we would go into people's homes and tell them what's not paranormal. The very real things that are going on in their house are from mom, dad, sister, brother, Uncle John, whoever, and to basically knock off all this baloney that they saw on TV. So I want you to, for those of you who watch the shows on TV, again, great for entertainment purposes only, but not for fact. So one of the things that they talk about is, and I am a paranormal author. What is the definition of normal? Does anybody know? Usually when I'm in a live group or somebody yells it out, so I'll yell it out for you. It means anything above the normal, anything outside the normal. So if every morning I have a bagel for breakfast, which I do, and tomorrow I have Rice Krispies, that's paranormal. See how crazy it is with words? Then people go crazy for this stuff. And all you're saying is you're doing something different than normal. That's all you're saying. So that's what I did in high school. I went on with my life. I went to school, became an RN. I met my wonderful husband. We got married, lovely children. And that was life until 2012. And the show started coming out again. Hunters, Paranormal State, Paranormal Puppy. Again, great shows if you want some entertainment. But now I was older and I was like, I'm an adult. I can do it now. So like I said to my husband, I am going to teach people and let them know that their loved ones are here because they're missing out on so much. And again, as I said, we're all going to die. And someday our loved ones are going to be ignoring us as well. So it kind of stinks. I don't want to be ignored. I don't like being ignored now. So, right, Peggy, it's all about me, right? Just shake your head. Yeah. Okay. Peggy knows very well. So I decided I'm going to write a book. And I tell my husband, and my husband says, but sweetheart, you don't even read. True story. I don't read. But I was like, I'm going to write a book. And I did. And my very first book, it's actually in just about every library, anywhere in the world, is called, if you can see it, You Are Not Alone. You see it? Our loved ones are here. You're just not listening. Those of you who have read it already, thank you. For those of you who haven't yet, I'm going to explain to you a little bit about the book. This book I wrote right here in my home. I am a nurse. I am not an author, technically, but it is a bestseller. It has and continues to be sold, bought, and read on every continent except for Antarctica. Peggy? Oh, you're muted. I'm sorry. So what Peggy usually says now. Oh, you did. Peggy, talk.
Okay, now I am.
Okay.
Yeah, I unmuted her. Yeah.
I keep telling her that I'm going to send one down there to the scientists.
I just want
the polar bears.
No, there's no polar bears down there.
There's no people, Peggy. Okay. Anyway, is there people? Okay, you find people for me, Peg, and then maybe you and I can go do a presentation down there to the penguins. Anyway, so but the point is the book is done very well, right, Peg?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now you can mute her because she's annoying me, Cynthia.
Okay, you're sure now?
No, I love Peggy. She knows that. She's my bestest. Anyway, so I was very surprised when the book did so well, and the book did so well. Again, I gratefully gave it to the libraries, and then I did presentations. Then I went to colleges, and then I was on local radio, TV. Then I was on local radio, and next thing I know, I'm just keep going. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm not like that. I am pretty much what you see right now. I wear T-shirts and sloppy pants. I'm not all into that charismatic TV personality. It was very overwhelming. But when I asked people, why did you buy this book? I don't know, again, if you guys can see how thick it is. It's pretty much a 3-bathroom read, maybe 4, depending on how you go. But it's not a novel, but it's done very well. What people tell me is the reason why they liked it so much is because it's an easy read. Believe me, it's an easy read. It makes sense. They realize the stuff on TV does not make sense. And it's like I'm talking to them right now. It's just like, that's how I wanted it. That's exactly what I wanted. Also, a lot of them had actually had those types of experiences and just did not know what they were. So I'm very proud of the book. After that, I wrote 2 more books, Gift Innocence, which is for adults to try to see, or if they have a gifted child and or grandchild or whatever. And then My Gifted Innocence, which is a book for the child, where they can color pictures of what they see, you know, so they can have a conversation with the parent, so they're not frightened. So those are my 3 books. And for a while, it was very, 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 very busy. And then my youngest son had 6 strokes. During this time, I had been giving readings for about, oh God, I don't even know how many years, decades. I was giving readings for decades. My readings used to be about 3 hours, pack a lunch, or my husband would make you lasagna. And I ain't kidding, he would. So I don't want to do it anymore. And I'm going to, just because I don't know if any of you know me, I know who's listening out there, but for those of you who know me, this is not going to shock you. But for those of you who don't, I'm a very honest person. Number one, people annoy me. I am not a people person. Yes, I know that surprises all of you. Okay. How could she be a nurse and not like people? It's very easy. Okay. If you are sick, if you need help, I'm your gal. If you're a baby, or if you're a puppy, or if you're an old person, I love you to death. It's the people in the middle that I just really can't stand. Can't talk. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you. Okay. That's the young generation coming up. But I actually have a t-shirt that says, I don't like people. On the back, it says, yes, this means you. So, and I'm very proud of the t-shirt, but I didn't really want to do the readings anymore. Found it. I used to think it was great, but people started to annoy me. And I'm going to tell you why they annoyed me. They would come for a reading, a 3-hour reading. They would have wonderful experiences. I would provide them with all this information that absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, nothing I could Google or Facebook or anything like that, especially because that stuff wasn't even around at the time. And they would have real experiences. And then what I do is I would teach them, every one of them, how to take that information home with them to connect with their loved ones on their own so that they don't need me anymore. Because really nobody does. I mean, I'm telling you the truth. Nobody really needs me. But what they would do is they would just wait till they could come get on my calendar again. And I'm sorry, that's lazy. I don't like lazy. If I'm giving you everything that you need and you've already gotten the validation, take it to yourself. This way you can do it anytime you want. You don't need to make an appointment with somebody, but people didn't do it. They wanted me to do it for them. I was getting very frustrated. Tried to stop doing readings. I could not pull myself away from it because unfortunately I don't like saying no sometimes, although it's getting easy. Until my son had his stroke. And then my son said to me, he goes, Mom, he goes, you don't look good. I said, well, my son just had strokes. How am I supposed to look? And he says, no, he goes, you don't look good. He goes, you haven't looked good for a long time. You're depressed. And he goes, you don't want to do this anymore. Don't do it. Just stop. It's all Matthew and I know is weird people coming in our houses, sitting on our couches, crying, Dad giving them lasagna, and then paying you, and they leave. That's all we know. And he says, you know, stop. I want you to be happy. So, you know, my son gave me the ability to stop doing what I do. It became easy to say no. Now, for those of you who are parents out there, if your child makes a request of you, you try to keep that agreement. I also, unfortunately, feel that because the agreement was made during the context of his health, that if I break that agreement, then something terrible happened to him. I know it's not rational, but I'm sorry, I'm a mother and I'm sticking to it. So with that, Peggy and I developed several workshops to help people connect with their loved ones on their own, how to know how to do this. And I got to say, I think it was the right way to go. People are being very receptive. They're doing very, very well on their own. They know they can't keep coming to me after that. I mean, I'm always here for questions, but they do it on their own. And so I pretty much given them the power before I made it too easy for them. So this is what we've been doing for the last couple of years, right, Peg? We do all these workshops, educations. We do Reiki. We teach Reiki 1, 2, 3 master level. Of course, now we have to do it all by Zoom, but you know, it is what it is. So that's what I've been doing. That's what I continue to do. And that's why I want you to know a little bit about me. My information I have comes from feelings, comes with information from my grandfather, comes with things I've researched myself. Everything I'm going to talk to you about tonight, why your loved ones are with you, you can find it in your local library. Go visit your, well, you can't, can they visit the libraries? And
Well, sort of. Sorry, let me come back. I just have a few people emailing me trying to view it and everything. So yes, you can call us and we can put books aside for you to come and pick up. You can go on our webpage, www.hagemanlibrary.org, and search our catalog. You can log into your own account through there. You can get a library card online. There's an application right on our website. So basically what we're doing now, we're doing two things. We have we have computer lab hours, which you can find those hours listed on our website. And which is again is www.hagaman library.org. So we have computer lab hours right now, and we also have curbside pickup. So you can call us during our regular business hours, and you can order. Can request anything you want. We'll either order it for you, or we'll if we have it, we'll check it out to you, set up a time for you to come and pick it up. So that's basically what we're doing right now. So we're looking to expand as long as we can do it safely.
Good. And that's just, it was Zoom. I wasn't sure what the libraries were doing. Library, I'm telling you, first of all, it was wonderful before COVID. It'll be wonderful after COVID. But everything that I'm going to tell you tonight, seriously, it's written in a book somewhere. It's based on science. You can find it. So I'm going to take you back now to 7th grade before I start the actual, and just because I want to pull it all together. In 7th grade, I had a science teacher named Mr. Jarosco. Nice guy, a little weird looking, but he was a nice guy. He starts talking about the law of conservation of energy. I don't know if any of you remember that. Ashley, do you remember that? You're the youngest one. No, oh, come on, Ashley. It's where the rest of us are supposed to forget it by now. We're all like 90. Come on. Look at her laughing. She thinks he's cute. Anyway, you're adorable. So listen, I'm going to tell you what it is. Do you remember that energy cannot be created or destroyed? Ashley? Just say yes. Yeah, okay, good. Karen, do you remember that, Karen? Yeah, okay. So energy cannot be created or destroyed. That's the law of conservation. It's been around way before me, believe it or not, and I'm old. What that law states, and as I actually listened to the teacher this time instead of checking out boys in the room, was that energy has always been here. The universal energy has always been here. And that we are energy beings. Now, every scientist, theorist, philosopher, physicist, they all agree that what makes us who we are is energy. That's how we work. That's how our DNA works. It's how we live. So if energy cannot be created, and we're energy beings, and that means that our energy has been here since the beginning of time. So that is the theory for reincarnation. Now, I don't know if reincarnation is valid or not. I can see the science for it. I don't know if I've ever been reincarnated, or would I know? Who knows? But the thought is, does it make sense that in all these millenniums it's gone on that we only get one time to get the candy-coated shell, our physical self? I don't know. I mean, it doesn't really make sense. But I have asked my grandmother, hey, grandma, are you grandma for me, somebody else for somebody else? And I've never got an answer. So I really can't tell you about that part. However, if energy cannot be destroyed, and we are energy beings, then technically we can't die. We're still here. The carcass, frail, the flesh, that's gone. Physical problems, that's gone. But we're still here. And I was like, wow, that's what my grandfather was trying to explain to me when I was 6 years old in the back of that station wagon. My grandfather was born on the Penobscot Reservation. He was not a learned man. He would not have known the law of conservation of energy, yet he knew. He knew. So that really changed me in the 7th grade because I came almost like full circle. And I had a really good understanding of the fact that this is the way it's supposed to be. We are absolutely supposed to be doing this And so that's when I actually started doing some research way back then in the local libraries. And what I found is there's a lot of books going back to that you can find writings, the 1400s. Yeah, believe it or not, they wrote back then, where they were talking about the connection of the spirit, the energy force to the energy force of our dead loved ones. So many writings about it, to the point where it was common and it was all the time. So I started looking at these different cultures and all their beliefs and thinking to myself, why did we go astray? What is the issue? Well, one of the things people bring up to me all the time, Peggy knows because she's been at my presentations with me. Sometimes people come to my presentations, they don't have the best of intentions. They'll sit in the front row with their rosary beads, and they'll want to throw a can of Coke at my head or something, because that's happened before too.
Wow.
And they will tell me that you're not really talking to your loved ones. That's Satan fooling you. It even says in the Bible that you're not supposed to do this and be weary of mediums and all this other stuff. Okay, yes, the Bible does say that, absolutely. And for any of my friends out there who are very well versed in the Bible, you can take a nap because you probably know where I'm going with this. But for those of you who don't, there are 4 parable stories in, and actually more than 4, but 4, absolutely, that talk about situations where loved ones, deceased loved ones, have come back to the living to give them a message, to provide them comfort, to celebrate with them. And in nowhere in any parables did the people scream, "It's a ghost," and run and go hide their head under a pillow. No, the next lines in this parable usually were, they were exhilarated, they were jubilated, they rejoiced, they sang with praise. Why is that? Well, because it was expected and it was accepted. It was expected because it happened all the time, and it was accepted because it happened all the time. Where do we go from that, which was a normal part of everyday living and discussed in the Bible for those people that, want to throw that out, to where we are now? Well, I'm not going to get into that other than to say, again, go to your local library somewhere around the 1600s, and you'll find the reason where we started not thinking with the brain that we have today, where we were told and we were molded into thinking a certain way about death when it's really not logical and it's not what we're supposed to do. So now that I've said that, let's talk about your loved ones. So your loved ones are energy. They're energy beings. They don't have a physical body anymore. For those of you who watch the paranormal shows, they talk about, well, first of all, they have lots of misinformation. It's just, I don't even really talk to any paranormal groups that are out there. As Peggy can tell you, Peggy's part of Connecticut Ghost Hunters. We don't do that because we really just we don't want to be affiliated with people who have the nonsense ideas. Fact is fact, science is science. Let's just stick with that. So some of the stuff that they talk about on TV is absolutely wrong. And one of the things that is that, oh, they're all sad they've died. They're all trying to avenge their death. They're moaning from the grave. They're trying to crawl their way out. No, they're not. I mean, no, they're not. Anger, resentment, sadness, fear, and stuff, those are human emotions. They're not human anymore. They're not. They're not sad they're dead. They know they're dead. Not sad they're dead. They don't care. I don't care if it was the most brutal murder on the face of the planet. They don't care. We care because we're still humans and we still have emotions. So even if they were the nastiest person, and I'm going to talk about my grandmother in a little bit, even if they were the nastiest person on the planet, they lost that nastiness because whatever made them in their human form that way is gone. It can't be that way. So that's a bunch of nonsense. It's great for hype. Speaking of which, I might as well bring this up this time. So several years back, I was asked by Lifetime to do a show. And, well, it was a subsidiary of Lifetime, but it was Lifetime. $5,000 an episode. That's pretty awesome, right? Who doesn't want that? So little by little, start talking about the storyline, blah, I'm telling it how it is. And honestly, it's kind of boring. There's no drama. It really is very, very boring. I really was wondering how they were going to do a show on something like this. And I was being asked, well, when does the person get pushed down the stairs? Or when does the person get like scratched with welt on their arm? Well, they don't. They don't. That's just drama that's made up stuff from TV. So it was probably a good idea that it never happened, because I wasn't going to create something and diverge from what the truth was and what the fact is, because I had made a name for myself already, and I just really didn't want to be pulled in that direction, even for $5,000 an episode. So I'm crazy. You go right ahead. I am, but not for that reason. So there is no drama. This is pretty straightforward. When our loved ones pass away, somebody calling me? Oh, okay.
Oh, no, I was just going to ask you a question, but I'll wait.
Yes. No, go ahead. Go.
So you're saying there's no such thing as dark entities or any kind of like, there's no dark and light. And when you say that they don't have emotions, I mean, obviously they still love us, or they wouldn't be kind of hanging around.
No. Okay.
But
There's not there's, first of all, I'll answer the last question first. There's they don't love us like we love. Okay. There's a connection. They know who we are. They want the best for us because they understand the connection, but that huggy, kissy, emotional, romantic love, no, they don't have that. They don't. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that they're not angry, they're not sad, they're not depressed, but they love us. I'm not going to do that. And it really annoys me when people go to psychics or mediums, they sit there and say, your mother says to tell you she loved you very much. Well, first of all, of course she did. That's just dumb. But no, they don't. They don't. And the that they're with us, and again, I haven't died yet, so I don't have all the answers, is because honestly, it's as simple as they're supposed to be. First of all, the connection is there. The energy connection, the biological connection is there. Just like when we die, we will be with our loved ones and we will be guiding and protecting them also, but on a different level. They are so far above us and beyond us. It's incredible. They don't have a physical body anymore. They're not constrained by time or place. So we can't fathom why they would want to do this. Their energy, they're not a physical human being anymore. And as long as you see them as still as that, you're going to limit any potential or possibility that you have with them. But that's a very, very good question. But no, I'm not going to tell you that they love you, because they don't. And I know that hurts people and people get upset. It does. It hurts people. But I'm like, I'm not going to, I won't use the word, but I'm not going to BS anybody. This subject is too important and I'm not going to do it. There is a connection. They do know that they're with us and they're supposed to, and they do whatever they can to help us. They will try to give us clues to better ourselves or to avoid certain situations. But yes, they also will step back and allow things to happen also that have to happen, like dying or like getting in a car accident or getting an amputation or something like that. So it's all pretty head and rational, but a lot of people don't want to see it that way, and it's very sad. But okay, so yes, paranormal shows have a lot of misinformation out there. So our loved ones are hanging around. Again, for us, we would be bored to tears. Again, try to remember that they're in a different form now. So when your loved ones are with you, everybody has several loved ones with them, but they don't always get the person that they want. And let me explain. So when a loved one passes away, we do not have a say on who is with us. Sometimes we get people we don't want. Sometimes we do get the people that we want, but sometimes, and I can't tell you why you don't get the favorite aunt. If I can't explain to you why, lovely gentleman, it's on the cover of my book, My Papa, only had a relationship really with me, not my brothers and sisters, but he has been with me one day since he's died. Makes no sense whatsoever. He is with my oldest brother. So when my oldest brother comes to visit, yes, to see him, and I have said to him, Pop-Up, what the heck? And I don't get an answer. All I know is that we can't pick them. The decision's made somewhere, somebody, maybe it's by them, I don't know. But you do have people with you. These people who are with you all the time. They don't go be with someone else. A lot of people have said, and I've heard on paranormal shows, well, they come to you in the beginning to let you know they've gone into the light and they're okay. and you don't see them anymore. No. They're here. We're here. One step to the side. We're in the same realm. They don't go anywhere. They're right here. So that's also a bunch of baloney, because a lot of people will try or stop connecting to a loved one, or trying to, because they figure that they're just gone now. And that's a huge mistake. So what they can do, however, is they can be shared. So I have two grandmothers. One grandmother was a salt of the earth, wonderful, wonderful woman, best woman on the planet. So when she passed away and she presented to me, which is how I know that they're with me, I was thrilled. I was just so happy. When my other, the rotten one, passed away, and she presented to me, I was not happy, and because I don't like her, she's disgusting, and yes, she can hear me right now. So the way that happened was, she was a nasty, vile, disgusting, manipulative, conniving, lying. Did I say all the nice words? Yes, I said the nice words. But anyway, she was not nice, and I really didn't want anything to do with her forever, anytime at all, ever. Certainly not to hang around with me for all eternity in her death. Being of nursing for large-scale facilities, my phone rings on a regular basis. It was Christmas Eve. My father had went to see her at the nursing home. The only reason she was in the nursing home is she needs some strengthening. Her mind was sharp. Everything about her was sharp. Her heart was good. It really was just her legs. So he went to go see her, and on Christmas Eve, because he was going to Pennsylvania the next day. She said, "If you don't come to see me till Christmas Day, I will be dead." Well, my father, growing up with that type of manipulative behavior, says, "Okay, goodbye, Mom." Right? I mean, he was used to it. Off he goes. Christmas morning, I wake up, I go get my lovely cup of coffee in the kitchen, and there she's standing. I'm like, oh, why? All right. So obviously I was in mourning, but not because she was dead. I was in mourning for me, because she was with me. I would not have picked her, did not want her, don't like her, whatever. So I had to get on the phone. I called my father and I said, "Dad, Nani's dead." And he says, "Well, how do you know?" I said, "She's in the kitchen." Now, for any other home, that probably would have been a weird conversation, but not in our family, because, that was just no. So my father says, "Well, he goes, they didn't call me." And so he said, "I'm going to call the nursing home." He did. The first time they said, "Oh, no, we just checked her an hour ago. She's fine." He said, "Please go check her again." And they come back and say she's dead. So that's how manipulative she was. She forced herself to die on Christmas Day to make everybody miserable. And other than the fact that she was with me, which made me miserable, I had a really nice Christmas. With that being said, yeah, you can all smile. It's really okay. It's okay that she hears me talk like this. It's really, really okay. You don't want to change. You don't want to do these things where I see people do, "Oh, mother, dear mother, how far out there." No, you don't talk to people like that. You talk to them with anger, with love, just like you have a regular conversation, because otherwise they're just going to look at you like you're nuts. So my grandmother is with me. Now, she is also with my sister. That makes perfect sense, because my sister is just like her. But she's with me. So my theory is, why can't we share my grandmother, but I can't share my grandfather with my brother? I don't have the answer to that. Again, maybe when I'm dead, I'll have the answer. And of course, at that point, I probably won't care. But I don't have an answer. So I can't answer for you why you don't get who you want. But what I tell you, even my rotten, disgusting, miserable grandmother, what made her that way was something in her psyche, was something in her personality. It was a human flaw. It was a part of her that was damaged. She doesn't have that anymore. So even though she was that way in life, she can't be that way in death, because she does not have whatever it was that made her the way she was. Now, it's all validation with them. They go out of their way to validate, so you know that who they are and that they're with you. So if my grandmother came to me and said, "Sydney, such a beautiful girl," I'd say, "Who are you?" Because that's not her. So she doesn't do that. What she says is, "You shouldn't be wearing those pants. Your butter's too big." It's probably right. But that nasty, that zing, that really horrible way she would say it, is gone. She can't do that anymore. But of course, she's going to say something that she would have said because that's validation and that's what they do. So to answer your other question, Cynthia, I was just going to say 38. Oh boy, I wish. I am 58 years old on this planet a long time. I have never in my life seen a negative energy in any way, shape, and or form. And I think I've been around long enough to find one, except in the living. In the living, it's disgusting. It's all over the place. The living are horrible. Living, the negative energy in some people is just worse than any possible demonic creature you can possibly, thank you, Ashley, for agreeing, that you can think of. Our loved ones, no, they don't even have the capability of doing that. So can I completely discount the fact of there's demonic? No, I can't, because there might be things that I don't see. But I think for 58 years and talking to loved ones, and I have asked them, hey, is there something I ain't seeing? Is there like a hell? Is there like this guy with horns? You know what? And I've been told, yeah, no, I have. I mean, I'm thinking, why don't I ask them? Why not ask them? And no, it's not happening. Again, it's the living that are not cool.
Could it be, so so what you're saying is there's no other energy other than, like, there's no spiritual negative energy, it's just within us. Is that kind of what you're saying?
That's absolutely correct. Now, so we can actually talk about that. There is an energy that we create, usually of dire distress or horrible life circumstances that go on for a long time, which just have eaten away at our health, in our mental health and otherwise. And you people can create poltergeist activity. That is a phenomenon that's been well studied for over 100 years. But it is not like the shows on TV. It's from some satanic hole in the ground, okay? It comes from the person. The person projects this negative energy. It's very real. The person perceives it to be very, very real because they feel it, but is coming from you and what you are creating. And usually it's because of unbelievable stress, strain, horrible health, mental, emotional disturbance, or whatever else that creates it when the body just can't take anymore. So very good question again, Cynthia. Thank you.
I hope somebody just posed a question on Facebook. I'm just going to quickly tell you what she said, Margarita. She said, if they don't have a physical body, but how were you able to see the little girl and the woman? Do they choose to be seen as a human?
Of course, it's validation. And thank you for the question. When they present to us, they want to do it so that we know it's them. They absolutely have, and I can't use the word desire because that's a human emotion, but it's almost like their modus operandi that it's important for them, for us to know that they are there. Well, if they just present as a glob, we're not going to know who it is. So yes, they will take on a human form. They don't need it anymore. They don't know how to do anything with it, but it is for us for validation. Well, I will tell you about that form is if they die when they're 60, 70, 80, 90 years old or whatever, they're coming back in their 20s or early 30s. I'm coming back at 22 if I have a choice. I don't know if they have a choice or if that's just what happens because I haven't been dead. But I think I'm coming back in my 20s. Anyway, they're always pristine. Their hair is beautiful. Their teeth is beautiful. Everything's beautiful. They got nice clothes on. They can wear T-shirts. They can wear shorts. They're not all in military uniforms or like they were just buried in their night clothes. They can wear bathing suits. They can be naked, but they can present in a human form. If they had an amputation, guess what? They got their leg back. When I tell you they're pristine, they are pristine. Now, if you were going to put on a facade for somebody and just cloak yourself in something, get somebody's attention, I mean, would you present them in an old decrepit form? No, of course you wouldn't. So yes, they put on a facade, they put on a presence for us, but it's all for validation. So this woman and this girl, again, they wanted me to see them. There was a need for me to see them. I don't know who they were. They were nobody in my family, but I still need to be able to recognize that they were a woman and a child. But again, they were in pristine shape. Now, do they always present like that? Another misnomer from the paranormal shows. No. Sometimes they present, you can see them from waist up, you can see them from neck up, maybe sometimes only half of the face, maybe a partial side of the face. Sometimes they look like a mirage or a little line coming around. And sometimes they look like what's called a shadow figure. Now, a shadow figure on the paranormal shows are dark, malevolent energy. Well, I take offense to that because my aunt, wonderful woman, she was a flapper, never got married, she had lots of boyfriends, had lots of wonderful jewelry too. So most of the time when I see her, the best that she can do when she presents herself to me is in the shadow form. So what they teach you on these shows is to go away from your loved ones instead of toward them. So they can present in many different ways. 9 times out of 10, though, it is in a physical form that you will recognize in a healthy physical form. So that was a very good question. I usually do talk about that tonight. So that's good. Do we have another question before I go on to the next part?
We did have another question from a family. Just grab it here. So this family, this is from the mother. She said that she lost her only child, a son, to suicide 4 years ago, and her husband to ALS last March. And she's wondering, what are the main ways I can listen to connect with them? And she said it would mean a lot. I'm healing and forging as best I can.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, first, I am so very sorry for your loss. I cannot even imagine, and nor would I even start to begin any kind of condolences to you because I wouldn't even know where to start. Yes, our loved ones are still here with us, but they're not in the physical form. So I'm not going to sit here, but don't worry about it. You know, your loved ones are dead, but guess what? They're still here. It's still not the same. I miss my grandmother, the good one, not the rotten one. It's the things that we used to do, the sitting at the piano playing together. I will never have that again. And she had the best hugs in the world, the best hugs. I'm more that. So I'm not here to tell anybody I can give you your loved ones back because I can give you part of them back, but I can never give you the whole. So I'm not here to do that at all. Your son and your husband, I guarantee you're with you. Because that's usually how it goes. The spouse is usually with the wife and the children are always with the parents. So the first thing you need to do is part of what Peggy and I teach in the Understanding Your Senses workshop. They do not smell, feel, sound, or look like you think that they do. So what you have to do is you have to learn what it is that they do smell, sound like, feel like, stuff like that. So Peggy and I do workshops. I'm just going to give you a quick idea now because honestly, you said hear them. You can't even try to start to hear them. And I don't mean to be mean, but you just can't. Your brain is not used to it. We have not done this. I don't know how old you are, but all your life you have not done that. You have to retrain your brain to do what it's supposed to have done all your life, but it has not. Start small with smell, feeling them. Those are the 2 easiest: smell, feeling, then hearing, and then sight. I don't want you to be disappointed by going right to hearing because you really got to grow your brain. So smell, and I'm just going to go over the first 2 because I really want you to be able to practice these things because they come pretty easy. So your nose does not smell. Again, science here. The nose does not smell. Molecules break down, they go into the nose. We have a little receptor right here, and it sends signals to the brain. The brain has memory banks, and the brain says, oop, that's burnt toast. Okay, so it's not smelling. So if you think you smell your son's cologne or your husband's cologne or something, you don't really know because the smell can be like every other sense that you have, can be matrixed or confused. And we demonstrate that. So what Peggy and I do, it's a little harder now for Zoom, but we can still do it. It's still workable. Is everybody who's out there listening, if I blind you, or Peggy, because she's the one that likes to play with the blindfolds. So if I blindfolded you and I put the following items under your nose with no description, would you be able to identify it? So I'm just going to throw some stuff out there. Chocolate, a cigarette, cigar, orange, a rose, coffee, dirt. I think that's enough. Most of you probably would have said, for most of it, yeah, probably sure. Yeah, sure. I'm going to tell you that probably every single one of you may got one right, the rest of you would have gotten wrong. And you're going to tell me, no, that's not true. Yes, it's true. Because without the eyes, you are going to have your nose identify it. So we blindfold just to prove a point because we have to prove our point. We blindfold the person. We take an item that they already said that absolutely they'd be able to smell. So I just happen to have a cigarette right here. We hold it under their nose and they, oh, I know what that is. That's that, the Brillo pads that have the lemon in it. All right. Meanwhile, Peggy and I laugh on their back because we think it's funny. Some of the stuff that they come out with is hysterical. I mean, we have, it's just incredible some of the things that they come out with. We take the blindfold off and they see it's a cigarette and they get mad. You tricked me. No, I didn't trick you. I'm trying to prove a point. Now you use a cigarette with your eyes. Now smell it. Now they can smell the cigarette because you need your eyes to identify. This is important because in the beginning, you're not going to see your son and you're not going to see your husband. So you've got to learn to use your senses. That's why I take this out right here and learn how to truly use your nose to identify them properly. So let me show you how you're going to do that. I talked about validation a few minutes ago. So this is a little thing that I do during my presentations, and it works very well, and people really like it. So let's say that I'm washing dishes, la, 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 and I don't know how to wash dishes, but I've seen it done on TV, okay? So la, 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 and the smell of Gina Tay comes in my nose. And I'm like, oh, Mom, that smells like your perfume. I miss you so much. Oh, God, I wish you were still here. Oh, well, la, da, 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 da. Okay. That's what most people do. They react, kind of like the lady with the shoulder. I wish I knew her name to ask the question, but I don't want you to do that going forward tonight. Okay. And before I go further, even if you think they don't have an odor or a scent, I'm telling you, they do. They absolutely, everybody has a scent or some kind of odor. We may not think about what it is, but when they come to us, we will remember it and it will be something that's familiar. Anyway. So what I want you to do is the rational thing first. It may not be my mom's Gina Tay, so I had to think, is it the dishwashing liquid? Is it the Glade plug-in freshener? Is it the deodorant? Is it my hairspray? Is it my lotion? The window's open. Is it coming in from outside? Did somebody just light a candle? You've got to be rational. And chances are you're going to find where the smell was coming from. It's not Tay, and you're going to be bummed, but at least you know. Or you do the rational thing. You can't find the odor and you say, and again, I'm just using Mom, but just to give you an example. Mom, I thought I smelled your Gina Tay. Please get as close to me as you can. I need to smell it again. Boom. There it is. Thank you, Mom, but I really need to know it's you. I miss you so much. Can you please come close to me again? I need to smell your perfume. Boof. Thank you, Mom. Oh my God, Mom, this is absolutely awesome. Can you please come close to me again? Boof. Now, this is not a faded smell. This is like somebody bottle of Gina Tay and sprayed it in your face. They took a cigarette and they lit it right in your face. They blew cigar smoke right in your face. They're baking bread right this second. It is not vague in any way, shape, or form. Why is this important? If you do the rational thing first, and then if you ask the person on command to repeat what they did over and over and over again, and they do, that takes out happenstance. You know it's their cologne. You know it's their cigarette. You know it's them baking bread, making sauce, whatever it happens to be. You stop what you're doing. Those dishes are no longer important. You go sit on a couch and you talk to Mom or Dad or whoever. That is scent. And the only way you're going to really know and prove this to yourself, because I know you're all sitting out there thinking to yourself, nah, I'd be able to smell a rose. I'd be able to smell. I'm telling you. Have somebody blindfold you and stick some household things under your nose and see how well you do. You're not going to do well. But I will say, please, I have to have a caveat. Don't put, have somebody put like Comet bleach under your nose. People have done that because meanwhile people are going, and it's just not good for anybody. Okay, so just be careful with what you do. So that is scent. And that's one of the things we teach practice in the workshop. The reason why it's important is our brain learns by repetition. Remember in school, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, over and over and over again until our brain gets it. Well, our brain has to relearn how to smell using the nose alone and not the eyes. Now, feeling, and I really want you to do this. These are two things that you can practice. Forget the hearing right now. I don't want you disappointed. Feeling, when they take their energy and they place it on you, your face, your head, your throat, your arm, whatever, it doesn't feel like people think. People will tell me all the time, oh, it's cold. No, they're not cold. Their energy, they're actually quite warm. So if you're looking for cold, you're going to miss it. What they do feel like is, and hopefully you can see this, is a very light washcloth, very thin, Dollar General, whatever washcloth. It's not a JCPenney plush. The way the skin works is, again, the skin does not feel. The skin has receptors. So the epithelial lining does not feel. The skin has receptors, takes the signal, sends it to the brain its memory banks and deciphers what it is. So that's a slap. It's not really that my skin necessarily felt it, it's that the brain remembers it. So what you do is, we have partners, we blindfold, because again, you want to take this out. You're not going to see them in the beginning, so you need to be able to learn to use your senses without the sight. I just slapped myself, not because I like doing it. But we also practice in the workshops how to hug. Why is this important? Well, when we also say to you, what does a hug feel like? Oh, it feels nice. It's kind of warm, you know, it's an embrace. No, what does a hug feel like? You have to know what it feels like. Because when they come close to you and they interrupt your personal energy and they get closer, you start to feel the warmth, and then they interrupt your aura field. And then you can feel the breath on their face, and you can feel the embrace and the arms around you and the pressing together. That's what they're going to feel like. So if in your mind you're just thinking a hug is, oh, it's nice, you're missing it. Slap, because they will slap you. My loved ones slap me all the time, and I'm not really sure because I can see it. I really have a problem with that, but that's for another show. So I slapped myself, and I'm going to do it again. Because if I ask you about slap, you say, oh, it hurts. Well, yeah, no kidding. But what does it really feel like? So I'm going to slap myself. Actually, right now it doesn't hurt. Now it's starting to hurt, but the area that I slapped it on doesn't hurt. It's the area around it on the outside that I'm starting to feel the stinging and burning, and then it fills in. Why is that important? Because when they slap you, that's how it's going to feel. It's not going to just feel like, ow, that hurts. So we do practice these things because we need to know what they really feel like. So back to the washcloth. So what we do, we blindfold one person, or we ask them to close their eyes, but Peggy really into the blindfold, I'm telling you. I think she needs some therapy. But anyway, so we have one partner take their hand and put the hand on, and I'm just using my arm so you can see it. Put the hand down. And the person's blindfolded, and they have to speak it. If you speak it, you submit it in your brain. All right, I would know that that's a hand. I could feel the fingers. I could feel the weight. I could feel the temperature. I could feel the thumb. I definitely would be able to identify the hand. Then the partner takes the washcloth and just throws it down the arm. Okay, I know something's there. I don't know what it is, but it's more widespread. It's not as heavy, but the longer it stays there, it kind of settles. Okay, good. Back to the hand. Yep, I know that's a hand. We do it back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Why? The brain is remembering what this felt like. Very important. So when you're watching Lawrence Welk, and I'm dating myself, Ashley, Lawrence Welk had a variety show like a long time ago when we actually had TV with aluminum foil, just so you know. Okay, and when you're watching Lawrence Welk and you all of a sudden feel this washcloth, your brain remembers and brings you back. You go through the process, validate first. Is it my hair? Did the air conditioner kick on? Is the window open? Is the fan on? My sweater? If not, ask your loved ones to do it again. Mom, was that you? If that was you, can you come touch me right here and you get the washcloth feel? Mom, thank you. Can you do me a favor? Can you touch me right here and then you feel the washcloth here? Mom, can you touch me on my left side and you feel it here? Mom, do me a favor. Can you touch my forehead and you feel it here? That's called validation, and they will do it. I've had a lot of people say to me, oh, no, I don't want to play with them. Play with them. Play with them. There's nothing wrong with playing with them. It's what you need, and it needs to be fun, and you can have fun with them. So the washcloth is very, 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 very important. The only other thing I'm going to show you, because I don't want you to do any more than that, I really want you to practice that. It's very important, and I'm always here. If you need any advice, I will tell you again how to do it. We'll discuss it over and over and over again until you get it right. I know you asked about hearing, but I'm telling you, it's not going to happen until you get past the smell and the feel. And if I had my lovely assistant here, she would blow up this latex balloon for me. But I have a latex allergy, so my face would be like that. So you're not going to see it blown up, but this is a balloon. So we blow it up to normal size, pretty good size. If you've ever rubbed a balloon against your head and stuck it up against the wall, that is the way they feel when their energy is coming to us quickly. And it's what it is, our energy field on the outside is feeling them before we actually feel them. It's almost like there's a sail of coals. They're rushing toward us. They're not there to harm us. It's just they're coming in pretty quickly. It's that staticky feel. Hi, Ashley. Another Ashley. So what we do is we blindfold the person. The partner rubs the balloon on the head, and we place it in different areas. And they have to say forehead, throat, left shoulder, right knee, top of left foot. And we do it over and over and over again because, again, the brain is remembering how that balloon felt. And then you're watching Lawrence Welk. You're watching Lawrence Welk, and you feel the balloon. You go through the rational part first, and then you ask them to validate it. You know, come over to this side, touch me on my right side, my left side, and that's how you know. So, unfortunately, I don't know your name who asked that question like 35 minutes ago.
Oh, it's Stacy. Stacy is her first name.
Okay, Stacy. Again, very, very important. I'm not blowing your question off. There is a way to hear them. But again, I'd be disappointed. You're already going through a lot. So please take advantage of the fact that I'm here, scent, feeling, and we can move forward. But for right now, but they're there with you. And they're probably trying to get your attention. And they're probably doing all sorts of stuff, tripping over themselves. And right now you're too grieving, or you're just not sure what to feel. So you might be missing it. But you will. I promise you, you will have the opportunity. Once you get going and once your body's used to how they feel and smell, it's an everyday thing. You're not going to have to worry about it again, but you do have to get yourself there first. That was a long-winded answer, but I really felt the need to explain the whole thing because I didn't want her to go too far. So now, was there another question?
Don't see any more yet, but that could change.
Because I love to talk.
I'm watching it.
Okay, good. Okay, so we talked about now how they smelt and how they felt, like that. Our loved ones are with us all the time, as I said before. I got to try to remember where I was. Again, they don't leave us. You try to put them in a physical body, and you are really limited what they can do. If I wanted to go visit Peggy, I'd leave you fine folks and get in the car and drive. If they want to go someplace or be in 2 places or 12 places at one time, they don't have to do that. So please don't limit them by just seeing them in a physical body. So your loved ones that are with you all the time. They never leave you. They see everything you do. Everything. Everything. Yes. Everything. The bad and the ugly. And sometimes the very ugly. Okay. So with that, good night. No. It's true. They are always there. So yes, when you're on the toilet reading my book, they're there. When you're in the shower, they're there. When you're doing other things, they're there. But again, if I walked in on, and I keep picking on, now I'm going to pick on Karen now. If I walked in on Karen and was using the ladies' room, Karen would be mortified, right, Karen? And I would be mortified because we're human and we have that human emotion of being like, oh, God. But they don't. It doesn't mean the same thing to them. They are there. And so, and I don't like to lie to people when people say to me, yeah, but did they see when my husband and I, yes, they do. They do. So have fun with that. But I bring it up because I don't want you to think that you're ever alone, hence the name of my book. They don't leave you. And when I hear people who are mediums or psychics tell people, oh, you know what, if you keep crying, you're going to force them away because they will go away from you because they don't want to upset you. Bull loney. Believe me, they are there. You can cry all you want, grieve all you want, laugh all you want, do whatever you want. They're not leaving. I've called my nasty, rotten, foul names. She ain't going nowhere. They don't leave. So that is a misnomer. The other misnomer about, well, they come to you right after death and they visit you, but then they got to go, as I said, to the white light. That's not true either. They got to go. They're exactly where they're supposed to be. When they die, there's a transition. And because I'm a nurse, I can't even tell you how many people I've had to pronounce deceased in the state of Connecticut. An RN can do that. But I've seen many people die. And what I can tell you is just about every single case, they have actually left the building, if you know what I mean, before their pulse, their blood pressure, their respirations have stopped. I have to stand there by the bed knowing that they are gone. That transition happened. They have lifted, and no, they don't lift and go up into the sky. They don't do that. They lift. There is a transition. You can see it. And then if there's loved ones around, they will take their place standing next to the loved ones. If there's no loved ones in the room, then yes, they go away because they go to, their loved ones. They're with them. And sometimes that transition happens 15, 20, 25, 30 minutes later. I'm still standing at the bed. The body doesn't know to stop. The body doesn't know to stop the heartbeat or the breathing. But the person is dead. They are gone. But I have to wait by law to pronounce them. So a lot of times your loved one, when you're sitting there holding their hand, just because they're breathing and stuff does not mean that they're still with you. But they still see everything you do. So I've had many people come to me throughout my life saying, oh, I was on the way to the hospital and my father died 10 minutes before I got there. I am so upset. I'll never get over it. I let him down. He died alone. No, he didn't. No, he did not. Even during the transition, before they've actually completely died, they are already with their loved ones. They can already see what you're doing. They can see you're on the way to the hospital. They can see you're grieving, see everything you're doing. They're not alone because they're also then with their own loved ones. So I always tell people, don't put that burden on your shoulders you don't need to have because it's just not true. They don't hate. They don't bring anything into death. They don't feel disappointed. They don't feel angry with you. If they had any anger with you or problem with you and they were alive, again, human emotions. But if there was any rifts, that goes away, once they're deceased. So I hope that makes people feel a little bit better. So our loved ones, I'm going to tell you a little story. I'm going to get my book here because it helps me. Oh, excuse me. So I wanted to make sure, to go along with the other things, use something of theirs, a personal object, if you want to play with them. I know it sounds terrible, but so, like I have my grandmother's, the good one, not the one, her castanets right here, right? And again, I don't really need them because I can see them and it's fine. Take theirs, lay the object down and say, hey, Mom, do me a favor. Can you move this for me? But what you need to remember, energy to energy is very easy. Them taking their energy to connect with your energy in their scent or in touching you is easy, and it should happen spontaneously. Energy to an inanimate object, moving something, just give them a little bit of time. It just takes them a little bit, but they can do it. So take something of theirs and ask them to move it. And so to clear up some of the other things that people ask me all the time, I know people are mourning, I get it. But every penny you find on the ground is not your loved one. Pennies fall out of pockets. They just do. And I have a friend who walks around with a huge restaurant mayonnaise jar saying, look at all the pennies my father gave me. Okay, well, I guess there's no harm in that. There's no harm in that. But it's not her father. And I want people to have real events. So let's just say you're wondering if Dad's leaving you pennies. Well, there's a very easy way of finding it out, but be prepared to possibly be disappointed. So you go out in your car one morning and on the floorboard is a penny. You pick it up and say, oh, look at that. It's a penny, another penny from Dad. Thank you, Dad. Okay. Take the penny, bring it in the house, put it on the coffee table and say, Dad, if you left me this penny when I come back from work later or the store or wherever you're going, I want it next to my bed, on the table next to my bed. You come back, guess what? Still sitting on the coffee table. Still don't rule out might be Dad. Try it again and maybe a third time. But if the penny don't move at that point, you kind of have to move along. So let's just say you come home and that penny is sitting next to your bed. Thank you, Dad. That was great. I'm going to put the penny back down on the dresser next to my bed, and I want you to put it back onto that coffee table. Time goes by, you go look, and there's the darn penny sitting on the coffee table. Validation. Up the penny, say, okay, Dad, I'm going to leave the penny here. I'm going to go to sleep, and tomorrow morning when I get in the car, I want to see that penny on the floorboard again. You get up in the morning, you go out there, there's the penny. That's Dad. You do it any other way, and you're doing it wrong because you have no way. And they can move items. Like I said, it just takes them sometimes a little bit different. While I take a sip of water, Peggy needs to be unmuted, and Peggy's going to tell you how you can connect with your pets. Okay. Pets who have died, because you can, and he's the expert also on pets besides what I do. So Peggy, go for it.
Okay. Pets are pretty much like a humans. You want to keep their bedding, their toys, their leashes, their collars. Crawl to them. Pat on your lap if it's a small dog or a cat. They'll jump right up on you. It may take a little longer. Play with balls and play with their toys, and they'll play with you. My dog, we just had to recently put her down. And when I go into the bathroom, when I come home from work, I don't shut the door all the way, but just enough. And she'll open the door like she used to do when she was alive. Mm-hmm. It's just like a human, talk to them, like you used to
do. Thank you, Peg. Yes, and what? Yes.
No, I was just saying thank you. That's interesting. So they go to the same sort of realm, or I don't know if you'd say it. You said they're kind of right parallel with us in terms of where they're located. So it's not like a different dimension. It's more like they're just in a different energy state.
Maybe. They're in a different space. They're definitely in a different space. Okay, but they're one step to the side. They're not floating above. They're not in the fiery pits of hell. They're just not. They're literally, as my grandfather used to say, one step to the side, and we can connect with them. They definitely are in a different plane a little bit, but it's not a plane that we are not able to connect with very easily. And we actually walk in and out of their plane all day long, just like we walk in and out of each other's auras all day long, and we just don't even know it. So there's a lot of things that go on. Hi, Kitty. There's a lot of things that go on unseen by us on a regular basis that it's absolutely amazing. It's an amazing world out there, and we only know a small part of it. So, but thank you, Peggy. That's, I don't have pets. I haven't had pets in a while, but absolutely. Don't get rid of their toys. Don't get rid of their beds. Don't get rid of their stuff because, hey, Kitty, what's your name? It's a calico, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let me see. Is your cat's name Callie? No. That's what I would
Ashley, I just unmuted you, Ashley, so if you want to talk.
Her name is Lily.
Hi, Lily. Hi, Lily.
You're on camera.
Well, who wouldn't really? But did you tell Lily that it's all about me for tonight? Okay, just because I'm not sharing the camera with the cat. I'm sorry, I'm not doing it. I get very creative. I had a dog many years ago, beautiful Chow, and we couldn't think of a name, so we named it Dog. And everybody was like, "Oh, is that French?" Like, no, it's Dog, because that's how creative I am. But hey, when we called her name for dinner, she came, so she must have liked the name. So anyway, so yes, pets are great, and we lost somebody. Karen? Okay. So is there any before I go on? Let's see. Ashley has so many questions. Ashley, do you have so many questions?
I'm gonna unmute everybody. Hang on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi.
You're all unmuted. Okay.
They're all like, "Oh God, I finally get a chance to talk and not listen to her for 5 seconds." Okay. All right. Go ahead, Ashley. What you got?
Well, I lost my mother back November 22nd of 2018, and it was tragic. And my question is, I just wanted to know, like, because
Mm-hmm.
she suffered a lot during that whole time, and she thought she was coming home for Thanksgiving. So I wanted to know if she was at peace, or she felt everything.
Okay. Well, again, I don't lie to people when it this. And first of all, and I think, aren't we friends on Facebook, Ashley?
Yes.
Okay, so I think I remember. I think I remember when your mom passed away. And again, I'm very sorry. If your mother was dying of something that was painful, then she was uncomfortable. She wasn't, because again, that's the human part of us. We feel pain. Hopefully there was some kind of medications that took the edge off, but sometimes medications don't touch.
Yeah.
Especially if it's
Her
is
autopsy
aggressive.
shows they gave her no pain medication.
That's horrible. And there's no reason for that. What I can tell you is that as she started to transition, and again, I don't know the cause of her death, but was it something that was a chronic acute or where maybe she was a progressive cancer or something?
No, she just went in. She wasn't feeling well. I believe she had, not sure if she had ammonia. She had
Mm-hmm.
the flu, but she normally battles with like the flu or colds, but this time was odd. It wasn't the same kind of virus she had. She, Thanksgiving, she was fine until something happened. She got very lightheaded. She was acting like she had a stroke.
Okay.
And she kept saying that she kept seeing bright lights. Why is it so bright out? And we decided to take her into the emergency room. And to us, we didn't get any, you know, figured out how she passed. It was all just thrown at us, all different things. They were saying that she would overdose on a metformin, which that can't happen. She had cardiac arrest. She had kidney failure. They threw so much stuff out of us, but an autopsy says she didn't have kidney failure. She didn't have the flu, and it's just they said she had sepsis. So it was
Okay.
just so much fun out of us. We just don't know what happened to her, and we still to this day don't know. We had lawyers; they won't take on the cases because it's so complex.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, and again, I was actually going to say it sounded a little like she became septic to me, so that would make more sense. The metformin, yeah, actually, people can overdose on metformin. It's a medication for diabetes, and people absolutely can, but they would have to take an extreme amount.
Yeah.
It could have affected if she was septic, if she had bacterial in there, or she had a virus. It could have caused some kind of bacteria, which absolutely could have made her go septic. And they die pretty quickly. The white light, as soon as you said the white light, I've had many patients that say, and it's not the white light like they're dying. It's a different white light. It's more of a neurological flash that they see.
Yep.
And
She
that's actually, huh?
at home. She was experiencing that before we brought her in to the
Right.
hospital.
And that's actually a phenomenon that happens to people with that. It's also somebody who has something where they have an infection in their blood or they have a large amount of inflammation. And it's almost like they call it a septic flash, actually. So as soon as you said that she was seeing the white, based on everything else you said, that's what it sounded like to me. Again, I'm not a doctor. I mean, playing it on TV. But it is very hard sometimes to determine, and they can go pretty quickly. A lot of times they don't want to give medications for pain because they're afraid it's going to mask the symptoms while they're trying to diagnose. I don't believe in that myself personally, but that's okay. The point is, regardless of what caused your mother's death, she's not here anymore, right? Yep. So I know you'd like answers, but all I can tell you is that probably many hours she passed, especially if it was sepsis, she was already starting to transition. So during that time, as she was transitioning, the pain would have become less and less, but she still would have been in pain. until the complete transition took place, the complete separation from the physical self. I'm not going to lie to you. She would have been in pain. The minute that separation took place, no pain, absolute realization of where she is, what's going on. She sees what you're doing. She sees you guys crying. She sees everything. She doesn't miss a trick. So that hopefully brings you some, I don't know, nothing's going to make you feel better about it, because you can't go back. But again, I'm not going to lie to you and tell you that, oh no, she's all good, because the human part of us, no, we're not good. We're not good. But she's at peace. She's absolutely at peace now. I'm sure I can't see her because I'm not there with you right now. But again, she's absolutely radiant. I'm sure she looks awesome. She's probably extremely young when she presents, and she enjoys and sees everything you do. She doesn't miss holidays, celebrations, weddings. She doesn't miss anything. So rejoice in that the best that you can, and start talking to her. Just keep talking to her. Even when not sure if you hear her, just keep talking to her. She's going to make herself known. But she's perfectly okay now. She's better than okay. We're the poor slobs that aren't okay anymore. Okay. No, seriously, we're not. If there's anything I can do to help you out other than readings, I don't do that. Let me know. Anybody else have a question before I go into something else, which is brief? No. Do we have Facebook viewers?
Yeah, we do. I'm trying to get a feel for how many views we got. I can't seem to get it on my phone. And I'm afraid if I go out and try to view this live, it's going to interfere. So I'd have to go in my office to check it to see how many views we got.
I was just curious because I thought maybe we had a private party here with just the 6 of us, but I wasn't really sure. Okay.
Yeah, no, we definitely, it says at least 63 people have watched it. They're watching it.
I didn't do my hair.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. You like me. You really, really like me. So why is this important? The reason why I am out here talking to you to the point where I'm hoarse and you're sick to death of hearing from me is because I feel that this is the most important thing that probably I can do. I don't know everything. I'm not going to tell you that I know everything, but what I do know, I try to share. So what I do want you to know is every one of you can do exactly what I do. I am no different. I am not special. I'm not a gift from God, although my mother would say so. I am really not. Everybody can do what I do. I just had an alcoholic pop-up, okay, who guided me along the way. So I'm trying to share with you. Don't ever doubt yourself and what you can do. Unfortunately, you were dealt a dark hand by not, since the first time you opened your eyes, already being connected with your loved ones. So I want to ask you a quick question before I go into the last chapter of my book, which is very important. When you were in school, it was very important, for whatever reason, for the teachers to teach us about kinetic energy, thermal energy, chemical energy, electrical energy.
Okay.
Yes? What's the matter? Hello?
No, it just, you guys froze for a second, so I wasn't sure. You're all right now.
Am I back? Am I live? Is it
You're back. You're
okay, good. So do I have to repeat what I said? Hi, everybody. I'm Sydney Sherman. Oh, no, you
No, it's okay. We're past that.
Okay, good. Here we go. So to start over. So chemical energy, thermal energy, kinetic energy, all that blah, blah, blah that we really didn't pay attention to because none of us were going to be chemists, I don't think. But we learned that's information anyway. But what we did not learn is biological energy. Now, down my throat, we learned about biology, where the pancreas was, where the stomach was, the intestines, the brain, blah, 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 and how they function to some degree. We did not learn about how we function as a person, about our energy, about how our energy decides every single thing that we do in our body. It tells us how healthy we are. It tells us what things we should stay away from, what people, what places, what diseases we are predisposed to. It tells us everything about our lives and how our function and what we need to do for ourselves to live our best life. But we're not taught that in school. We have the blueprint. It is there. It's biologically us, but we're not taught it. So after many, many years, and I've talked to many teachers, professors, I was said, why is that? And they agree with me. It's not. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I actually am, but I'm going to throw it out there because I'm in healthcare. Why? I need to know that if I put two chemicals together, I'm going to get a reaction because I don't really care. But it's not important for me to know how to take care of my body, how my body works in the best way for me to go forward to make the best decisions and to keep myself away from the cancers that I'm predisposed to, or the diabetes or peripheral vascular disease, or any of those other things. Because then we wouldn't need insurance companies and pharmaceuticals and all the other big money. So just like you were born to be able to see auras, use your auras, understand your body, your energy. You were born to do that. Again, there's writings about that also in your local library. You were also supposed to, from birth, connect to your loved ones. Those two things, very important things, have been taken away from us. We would be completely different people if it wasn't taken away from us. So before I talk about your aura very quickly, I'm going to talk about the last chapter of my book, only because for those 948 people on Facebook, and I think I'm exaggerating, whatever. It's very important that you don't need a psychic. You don't need a medium. I'm telling you, half of them out there are full of baloney. Anybody can do what we do. So really, to call yourself a psychic or a medium, and I did it, and actually I didn't even call myself that. Other people called me with it, so I said, okay, whatever. Those people that do this, 9 times out of 10, they're full of garbage. So they really offend me because they spew stuff and they actually don't make things better for you. They actually make things worse, and they lie. So the very last chapter in my book is called The Reader. And I used to give readings, as I said, but readers are different. Readers are somebody that reads your expressions, your body language, your eyebrow raising, your twisting of your hands, you're sitting up in your chair. They've really honed in on the behavioral effects that people demonstrate when they're upset, when they're happy, when they're sad. And it's actually rather disgusting. So when people used to come to my house for readings, I would tell them, first of all, make up a fake email. Don't even give me your real first, because anybody can Google you now. If you give them correct information, they can even find your email and they can find out a bunch about you. And so that they don't really know anything about you, but they've researched you before you came. So you got to be very careful. So if you do decide to go to one of these people for whatever reason, make up a fake account. If they start asking you for all this information, they don't need it. And you should say to them, why do you need this information? You don't need this information. All you need to do is set up with me on the calendar, and how much do I owe you? That's all they need. Okay, so they will read your body language, they'll read your age. So what they do is they'll sit there and they'll say to the person, let's say they're 60 or 70 years old or whatever they are. First of all, they already know if you've come to them, you've come to them for a reason. You lost somebody, because people who haven't lost anybody, they're just not going to show up at a psychic reading. So they already got you with that. So they draw on the emotional card. Then what they do is if you're a certain age, they'll say, I see a father-like type figure. What is a father-like type figure? Father, a brother, a father-in-law, an uncle, a grandfather, the guy next door who you were close to. And they wait, because 9 times out of 10, you're going to say, is it my father? And they're going to say, yes, it's your father. And you don't even realize you're giving them the information. So they will do that. Or, my favorite, so you're older in age. It's like, I'm picking up grandfather. Okay. All right. If you're past the age of 60, even 50s, your grandpa's probably dead. So that would be a good call. All right. If you're 70 or 80, chances are your parents are dead. So you say, I got your, he's saying he's your father. Okay. So you just got to be really careful, because these people, they have no ethics, no morals. Yeah, you don't need them. No, you don't need them. Make them go out of business. They should have a going out of business sale. So you just got to be careful. In the back of my book, I actually have questions and answers that you can ask them ahead of time. It tells you when to walk away, things that they say do, walk away. Because they are not good people. So just be very careful of that. I'm telling you, you don't need them. Cynthia, did you have something to say before I do my last part?
No, I think I'm all set. I was just, we're up to 75 people now, so that I'm
Wow.
looking on here.
I really
Now
do wish I fixed my hair.
You look fine. You look wonderful.
Oh,
You're good.
stop.
All right.
Stop. Go ahead. Okay, so I'm going to try to share this. I'm not going to go through the whole thing with you guys because it takes too long, and Sydney hasn't slept in a couple of days. See now it's, oh no, here it is. I have it. Okay, and I'm going to share something, and hopefully it's going to come up, and you're going to be able to see it. If not, then something else. Okay, Cindy, let me know when you can see it.
Okay. I can see it.
So this is something that Peggy and I do when we do our aura workshops, or I do aura consultation. And the only reason I'm bringing this up very quickly now, because the aura workshop is 4 hours long, so I'm certainly not going to cover the whole thing. It's just to let you know that when you connect with your loved ones, what you're doing is you're connecting to their personal energy, their energy to your energy, as I said before. However, everybody can do it, but some people have a biological innate ability to do it better than others, or easier, or faster. So what I'm showing you here is energy spectrum. This is sensory information and sensory awareness only. It has nothing to do with how strong you are or anything else. I'm only talking about senses right now. So you have spiritual on the end, that's our loved ones. And then earth tone people, who are the living, and life colors. What this means is that our loved ones who are spiritual, their energy, they are still energy beings. They just don't have a physical body anymore. The earth tone people are the next up. They have a little more energy and life colors. The reason I skip energy, earth tone, is because there's only two life colors. There's blue and violet. If you are a blue and violet, you are a life color. If you are any other color of the spectrum, then you are an earth tone. The only difference is blue or empaths, and violets have an increased sensory ability to hear, see, smell, and feel. This is in your blood. This is in your DNA. This is biologically you. So you're just, if you are a blue or a violet aura, you just have a better opportunity to do it. You're just more able to do it. What your aura actually is your biological waste, which creates your color. It's your perspiration, your digestion, your cellular division. It all comes up, it gets trapped in your energy field, and it is a color. And again, because it's your enzymes, your biological, it is you. It's like a thumbprint, and it tells a lot about you and a lot about your body, your characteristics, your traits. As I said, situations that are good or bad for you, stressors for you, and even things that you are predisposed to, like diabetes and things like that. So you can avoid them. Okay, so that's the energy spectrum. The aura placement, there's only 4. And again, I'm not going to get into great detail, but everyone, what all this is showing is where that increased energy stimulation is hitting the person. Because depending on where this stimulation hits the person, is where you're going to see the damage, or where you're going to see their ability, or how their ability is to connect to their loved ones, their dead loved ones, or even the living. So you got your whole, your segmented, your cranial, which is up here, a lunatic, and you got your cardiac. The only difference is that's a whole, that's me. You can see that pretty much this sensory information, all the stuff that goes on morning, noon, night around them in the universe, office, around people, idiots, whatever. It comes in all day long, but it pretty much hits me throughout my whole body. It doesn't center in one area like the person who's like the cardiac person. The problem is as this information comes in, I get saturated because it has no output, place to go out. So I get anxious, I get depressed, I get overwhelmed. So I have to sage a lot. The person who has the outlets, excuse me? Somebody says I can't hear.
No, I think they just muted themselves. It was an outside noise, I think. Yeah.
So the segmented person down the bottom, they have the ability to get rid of the stuff. However, the problem is that when sensory information comes in, like they smell that cigarette or they smell the perfume, before they can make sense of what it is, it's gone. They can learn how to keep the information to them closer. The person around their chest, which is a Peggy, is an absolute empath. Now, you can be a blue or a violet and be any one of these placements. But if you are a blue and you have it around your chest, you are like the epitome. that means that everything is hitting you. All the sensory information, morning, noon, and night, is hitting you in the chest area, the lung area. And so depression, hypertension, cardiovascular disease, strokes, all those things you need to have to worry about. And the same thing with the cranial on the top. That person, all their sensory information is hitting them in the brain. And when we talked about before about your senses, that your nose doesn't smell and your skin doesn't feel, the brain deciphers everything. So this poor son of a gun, when the information is coming in, it's beating down their brain all day long. These people do not do well. Chemical dependency issues, alcoholism, they don't feel good about themselves, they don't like themselves, they are not very successful, they don't think that they belong here in this world, and eventually sometimes they take themselves out. So knowing your placement and your color is huge. Again, we were supposed to have done this since the day we were born, but there you go. I'm not even going to bother getting into the brain here because again, it's too long, but the brain explains why it is that all these things occur, what causes it, but there is a direct correlation to the brain, which is why the lovely lady that asked the question before regarding her son and her husband, I don't want you to go past the smelling and the feeling first, because what's going to stop you in your tracks before making you successful is the brain. Your brain is not ready for it yet. You've got to prepare it and get it ready. So, do I have that last line here, Peggy? I think I'm putting up right now this last slide. All right, it's not. Do you see it on the other? Huh?
No.
If it comes up, no, for some reason it's not there. I don't know why it's not there. Anyway, Peggy can probably type it. My email, in case anybody has any questions, she could type it in there, and or my website to get more information. I'm also on Facebook.
I'll post all that information on here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I have successfully talked for almost 2 hours, and could talk probably all night if I wasn't so tired, but you guys got to go to bed. So right. Does anybody have any questions, any thoughts?
Okay, I'm just looking to see if anybody else asked a question here.
They're probably sleeping. I believe.
Okay, so I posted and said for them to send questions to me or to post them here on Facebook. So I'm looking. I don't see any more, but let me check my email quick. Okay, I don't see anything here either yet. No, okay. I don't see anything. But
beautiful. Ashley had
you guys.
So I can feel the other realm, or whatever you could, like, how you say it, like the spirit realm to the energy. I feel their energy, and I actually like have seen things before as well. So like I am on that level. Things keep happening in my house, which I actually talked to Peggy about, saying how I saged the house, but they're still here. So I'm guessing it's like a loved one or someone that like has attached to me. But like the other day, they threw like stuff on the floor. So they're actually like moving objects pretty fiercely, but like not harming. But I'm seeing that. And I'm just like, what's going on? Like, who is this? Because I was like, oh, this is bad. This is probably bad, but it wasn't. It's not bad.
So, and that's why Connecticut Ghost Hunters was so awesome, because our loved ones will open up cabinets, they'll slam doors, they'll flash lights, they'll disconnect your phone, they'll do all sorts of stuff, but it's just to get our attention. And as I told you, they'll slap you, they'll pull your hair. But again, it is our loved ones. Nobody attaches to you. There's nobody. The only people you have with you are people who are related to you. You're not going to have somebody who was in 6th grade that you used to know, or the guy who's at the local grocery store that passed away. It's only our loved ones that come to us, and then nobody attaches, so they don't take a part of us. So you have somebody there in the house, probably several people, and for whatever reason, they're trying to get your attention. Now, it could be just because they want you to know, hey, we're here, pay attention, or maybe because they know that you need to know this. There's a reason that you need to know this. So next time that they do something like that and you can feel them, sit down nice and quiet. First of all, saging, you don't want them to go away. So you're not saging to get rid of anybody, because believe me, it's not going to happen. Hence my rotten grandmother. There's not enough sage in the world for that. But you don't want them to. The saging is just to clear your energy, to make you more attuned and aware, to clear the air out so you can connect with them. That's what it's for. So try that. And next time that they drop something on the floor, pick it up and say, "Hey, slob," because and put it back down and say, and start with people who have passed away, because you don't know who's with you. So I'm just going to make this up now because I don't. Uncle Paul, you know what? I don't know if it's you or not, but if it was you, I don't mind if you throw them on the floor, but I want you to do it when I ask you to, because otherwise it's just a pain. Can you move these books? Can you throw them on the floor for me again? Ask a couple of times. Give them time, because remember what I said about energy to not inanimate objects. And then if it doesn't work, move on to the next person. But really give them time. Go through the motions. It doesn't take them that long, and you're going to get your answer. You're going to get your answer, but there's no demonic energy. There's nobody negative. Whoever, I don't know if you live in an apartment, I don't know if you live in a house that somebody else lived in. It doesn't matter if a person died in your house. They are not in that house. They are off with their loved ones, wherever their loved ones are. They're not occupying a hairbrush or a mirror. That's a bunch of nonsense. So, good question, Ashley.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you. Because, I keep trying to figure out who it is, and I'm just like, all right, they're giving me these signs, but I don't know, who it is.
Take the time. Start with one person. Maybe go up to two. You're going to find out. But again, you've got to handle it a certain way. You can't just sit there and watch it happen and not go through the motions. And that's what a lot of people don't want to do. They don't put time in. They don't want to put the time in on learning how to smell or do all this other stuff. It's not that hard. And it's so well worth it. And hopefully we're starting a new generation, me and Peggy, of people that all of our kids and our grandkids are going to be doing this like it's nothing. I know I'm already teaching my grandkids. And then we won't have a society like we have now, where we're all scared of shadows, because it's nonsense. So if anybody's interested, haven't read my book before, you can get it from me. You can, I think the library has it still on their
we
shelves.
have a copy. Mm-hmm.
Please don't you can get it from Amazon, those other places. I'm telling you, it's going to cost you more. I'm just saying. And it wouldn't be signed. And of course, if it comes from me directly, sign it. Questions, email me. If you're interested in any of the stuff that Peggy and I do, the workshops, it's going to have to be Zoom. If you want to learn how to do Reiki, which I think everybody in the planet should learn at least Reiki 1, right, Peggy?
Yeah.
Just message me. I answer questions. I usually get back within 20 minutes, half an hour, unless I'm at work. So I don't start something like this and then walk away from people, because I know how important this is. Anybody want Reiki for their pet? You got to hook up with Peggy, because Peggy can make a shivering dog melt and just become a nice little puppy or kitty cat. So, anything else? Am I a star now because I was on Facebook?
I think so.
Okay, so wait a minute. I gotta figure
famous.
this out. I gotta figure out. What was the guy's name who's Peggy? What was the guy's name who I was on? I forget. Hold on. So what's more important? Facebook Live, you guys can take a vote after this, or me being on Mike Huckabee, his show, which I think being on Facebook Live, I think that rocked more. That's what I think.
Yeah.
I didn't have to do my hair. So. And I didn't do my nails either. My nails are yucky. So.
Mine too.
Okay. Well, Cynthia, I appreciate this again. So you're always so gracious to do.
Yes. No, thank you very much for doing this for the library. Thank you very much. And I know everyone watching has enjoyed it, and the people that have asked questions, I'm sure, are very grateful. So thank you very much. And I will post, I'm going to post your contact information on our Facebook page. And this video will be, I'm going to put it up on YouTube, if that's okay with everybody. It'll be on our website for a little while. It will stay up on Facebook for a short time until I actually post the actual YouTube video, which will stay up longer. I think when something's streamed live, it stays up for about a week or so, and then it comes down. So, but we'll have it recorded as long as everybody knows, you're recorded and everything, and you're okay with that. So it will be on our website, which is www.hagamanlibrary.org, HAGAMAN library.org. So you can see it there. You can also see it on our Facebook page at facebook.com/Hageman Library. And Sydney's contact information will be there as well on our Facebook page and also on our website. So thank you very much, everyone, for coming. Thank you, Sydney, so much and Peggy, both of you, for doing this. I really appreciate it.
And thank you. One more plug. I do once a month. I do a Talking with Sydney Zoom. So if you guys, we're not friends on Facebook or whatever, we do that. And it's kind of like this, where you just ask me questions and we just chit chat. So I'm going to be doing that again coming up very soon. So I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, and if you want to send me a link to that, I can post that too. So let people know, or we can.
Yeah, I can. I usually create the Zoom link that day. So I can send.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the Zoom link. But anyway.
Is it usually on your website though?
I will put it on my website.
Oh, okay. I'll direct people there then.
Thank you. And I will put it on Facebook and I do newsletters. So pretty much people know what we're doing. Peggy and I are always busy. So, but again, thank you everybody. You ask questions. I'm always here if you need me. And I hope you all stay safe and wear a mask. And yes, I did just say that.
Okay. Right, good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye,
Bye.
Ashley.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, Ashley.
Bye.
Bye.